What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cover Price Top 10 show for December 15. That's right, guys. The holiday season's in full swing. Christmas is around the corner. Oh man, the festivities. I'm feeling festive. I know I don't look it, but I feel it. And of course, we're going to go through the top 10 books from the last week. But joining me tonight are my boys, Izzy, Travis, Chat, we see you. Let's go around the horn and say hi. Izzy, how's it going, man?
It's going. It's going. I'm not going to give up, okay? That's what
No.
I'm telling you. I'm not tapping out, but I'm keeping the smile for you, the fans, and everyone. Cover price top 10. Travis, take it away, bro.
What's up, party people? Chat, how's it going? Lando, Izzy, how y'all doing? Lando, hell of a show last night. Great time with everybody that attended. If you didn't, you missed out a little bit. It was a lot of fun. Just good to be back. Good to be back. Very tired, thanks to Lando's show. But otherwise, we're in good shape.
Yeah, man, it was 3 hours of giveaways, and it was a great time. Like I said, we're in the holiday spirit. I've been crazy, like running around. I don't know about you guys, like work, Christmas parties. Like my wife's running around with Christmas parties. The kids are in full like holiday swing here with like activities every day. You guys do the Elf on a Shelf thing for your kids?
Nah, man. Have you ever seen the Jason Momoa SNL bit with Elf on the Shelf?
No.
Watch it. That's
Okay,
all I
will.
got to say. Santa, I need another kid.
Yeah. All you have to tell me is Jason Momoa, Elf on a Shelf, and I'm already intrigued.
I know JSS is gonna find that clip and he's gonna put it in there, just so you know.
For sure. But yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna check that out. But man, yeah, the Elf on a Shelf stuff, like my wife, man, it keeps her on her toes. Like she's literally like coming up with some of the most wild ideas. And like the other night, my wife went out. It was the night of John Cena. I'm sure everyone saw John Cena is now officially retired. That's what Izzy was referring to with the he's not gonna give up on us type thing. And man, I had to get creative, dude. I set up a wrestling ring with all my kids' wrestlers in the middle of the ring with the elves holding a sign saying "Thank you, Cena." Dude, my kid woke up the next day and he's like, "Oh, they watched it." I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly what happened." So yeah. I thought I did good with creativity on that one. But
yeah, I've been impressed with the creativity that I've seen.
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, sure. I sent you one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was one with I had an elf on a shelf. Well, the elf was on a wrestling table on a wrestling ring, right? And it was in the middle of the ring, and the elf was on the chandelier, like the kitchen light. Yeah. And it was getting ready to make the leap, bro. And then my kid comes down, and he was like, "What is going on?" It was so funny.
You get an elf. You need to put a picture of an elf, and there's like a table there, and the table's broken, and the elf is just laying down on the table like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
While the other elf is like, "What?
Yeah.
What?"
But yeah, no, I gotta shy away from the wrestling stuff for Elf on a Shelf. But man, shifting gears into comics, man, there's so much going on in the comic world. I don't know if you guys saw, man, we've got some leaks related to the Avengers, well, the Doomsday stuff, right? I saw it. I don't know if you guys saw it. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but yeah, man. It looks like some interesting steps are being taken here for the trailers. We're gonna be getting 4. One's going to be focusing on Chris Evans, apparently. That's the first one. Second one might be Thor. A third one might be Doom. And then the fourth one's going to be the actual trailer.
So with that being said, you mentioned something. And you said a certain character that we weren't supposed to leak, but we leaked it. You leaked it anyway, right? Spoiler on that one. But
whatever.
My take on it is you're just going back to the well. You're just going back to the well. That's all you're doing. You can't move. You cannot move forward, so you go backwards and you just bring everybody back.
Yeah.
Give it the dump trunk. We want you back. I'm pretty sure that the second trailer is gonna have ScarJo. The third trailer is gonna have Wolverine. The fourth trailer is gonna have I don't know. What's his name?
They're going to make him do this till he's 90.
Yeah, you're going to have Hugo Weaving's coming back, as Red Skull. Thanos is back, and he's Thanos and Cable at the same time,
Oh, Yeah, don't be surprised. But look, there's that's happening. We'll see what the other trailers that are rumored to be coming out are going to be. But man, it's a big week. Of course, comics, man, blind bags continue. Mark Spears, right? We've got the monsters issue 8, the Winter Horrorland that's actually coming out this week. So who knows, guys? Will the top 10 shift gears in the upcoming weeks as of next week? We know
It's
that
gonna be a
happened
tough
with
one.
trades.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be a
Hey,
tough one.
yeah. Mark said he's making this a goal for himself. So let's hope he succeeds and makes his goal come true. I think it is a possibility because yeah, I saw some craze already happening with the blind bags. But let's not stall the top 10 show any further, man. Let's just dive right in, guys. Of course, top 10 show, you know how we do it. We're looking at books that sold on the aftermarket within the last week. Now we're looking at some of the dollars that were spent on the aftermarket, and of course, we're looking at what was trending. That's right, we're looking at those trending sales. So, that being said, let's kick it off with tonight's runner up. Travis, take it away.
First up, we got Absolute Batman number 15. This is the Jock 1 in 50 variant. This one's been all over the internet. We've seen this one quite a bit. We actually talked about it on the show a couple times for pre-sale. We tracked 64 copies sold this week. No surprise there. With a high graded sale of CGC 9.8 for $180. We also saw a high raw sale here of this for $110, and this was a 7-day trend of 11%. We talked about originally when this was on the list for pre-sale that Jock and these great Batman covers kind of go hand in hand, right? And this one's no surprise. This one caught a lot of people's attention when it first dropped. It was kind of the oh my gosh after Snyder and Dragotta dropped the first, like the cover A. Yeah. This one was the one that immediately got all of the online attention. We got another kind of iconic looking Jock cover. So not surprised to see this one pop back up since we got the release and everything like that. Pretty cool. This is a great cover. I didn't get the 1 in 50. I got the other one. The whatever the cover be.
The one in whatever.
The one in whatever. Yeah. I got the one in whatever. But yeah, I love the cover. It's fantastic. There's what's not to love about it. And yeah, great book.
I would agree with that. I think this was a perfect storm for Joker, especially after reading that story. Yeah. That story is sick. Scott Snyder, you were reading a lot of manga when you were writing that. That's all I got to say about that. But this cover, we knew this cover was hot the moment we laid our eyes on it. That wasn't a surprise to everyone. And I do like the fact that there is a minimal trade dress version of this one. Is it necessary that we need to have a 1 in 50? I'm kind of opposed to that idea of that there's a variant and there's a trade, especially when the trade is a minimal. Yeah. But for this one, I kind of like it because it's not a version because there's a DC logo in the top. So it's a minimal, if that means something. But going back to channeling his inner Bill Sienkiewicz, there's a lot that we need to learn about this Joker. What we have learned already about this Joker has been very interesting and very crazy. But I did like the story.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, the story is absolutely wild, man. Like I was saying last week regarding this, I feel like there's a lot of pulls of some things happening within the real world right now. So it kind of like hit when I was reading that. But besides that, the cover itself, man, let's look at this one, the Jock variant. This one being the 1 in 50, of course, as you guys referenced, this does exist as a trade as well. I've seen people talking, certain ways about the fact that the 1 in 50 kind of doesn't look that much different as well, though, from the trade. The trade, obviously, on the top left corner, rather than the DC logo, we end up having the Absolute Batman logo. And then, obviously, you have the barcode at the bottom left. And then to the right-hand side is where we'll see the DC all in. Mm-hmm. Now, for myself, I get it. The 1 in 50, if you want something a little more, clean, the DC logo, yes, is still there, but I don't know. I like it either way. I'm happy to have picked up the trades. Let me tell you guys that the image that you're looking at right here, yes, the cover Jock, first time I saw it, I was like, man, this has to be one of my favorite covers of the year. I love it, dude. I love this one. I really like the Boland one as well. And I think that the silent, sneaky, amazing cover is the Sanford Green as well. But man, they're all amazing covers. But this one here happened to just blow me away the first time I saw it, and I'm happy I picked up multiple copies because, dude, I saw this in person after having picked it up, and I'm like, my God, this is just a stunning cover. It is so good, so good.
Yep.
And given the story we get, I love it. I love it. It's like for me the perfect book.
Yeah. And to some people in the chat, cover A is just as good.
Yes.
And I think cover A stands out. I think that's going to be a book that we're going to be seeing pop on this list sooner or later. Maybe not today, but we will see that cover A, because I think just looking at that image, it's iconic, and we don't want to just throw that word around when it comes to covers, but those two, this one and that one, are both iconic images
Yep.
that fit, right? You got the Joker playing card. It's a little homage to the Dark Knight as well. And it's just a really cool book. Dragoda Jock killed it with this story. Jock did some amazing artwork in this story.
Yep.
And it just fits really well, especially that little kid gesture in the book. He's a creepy kid. So go read it if you haven't had a chance.
Without burning too much more time on the runner up, I do want to say that we have seen, just to bounce off of your point there, Izzy, we've seen, when it comes to staying power with the Absolute books, we've seen the variants pop up here and there, but by and large, those cover A's are having this. They have the staying power here. They're the ones that are consistently showing up, consistently hitting numbers. I'm not saying that means that this one will, but if you're a cover A person and you're getting Absolute Batman, then you're probably eating pretty good either way. So
yeah. No, exactly. I saw somebody in the chat asking what was the print run for this. I know that it was I think it was 300,000, man. Just to give you an idea. So it's a very impressive print run, and all the covers. I agree with you guys. Whether it be the cover A, whether it be the Jock, they're all really great covers. But for me, yeah, dude, this one really stood out to me. I love it, and I'm no surprised to see this as tonight's runner-up, guys. Absolute Batman 15. This one being the Jock variant, which is a 1-in-50 ratio. Top sale for this in a CGC 9/8, $180, 7-day trend of 11%. Let's kick off the actual top 10. What do we got at number 10?
To no surprise, it's Absolute Batman number 1. However, we are looking at the 1-in-25 Ian Bertram variant that's seen some spikes this week with a top sale of $140 at a 9/8. We tracked about 7 copies, but again, it's all about this book. People are hunting this book down. We were at a premiere, the grand opening of my friend's store in Pelham Comics, if you haven't checked that out. And there were so many kids coming in asking for Absolute Batman. It was insane. So the hype is real. People are hunting it down. And now we're starting to see these variants pop in that they weren't here before. So everybody was looking at cover A's, but apparently people are starting to look now at the variants as well. Maybe they're becoming the variants, surprisingly, are becoming more affordable than the cover A's, and for good reasons. People haven't been talking about, but this is one of those tricky covers that you don't really talk a lot, but if you look at it, it is exactly as great as the other covers. You got a nice big Batman there. Ian Bertram killed it with this one, and with a 39% increase in sales, I think this is one that, like we said before, it's a bit of a sleeper, but it's still a good cover, and it's still an Absolute Batman number 1.
Yeah, I don't remember this one. And I was I was DC all in on Absolute Batman.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't remember this variant. When I saw this pop up, it did not register with me at all. But yeah, it's great. I hate that I didn't get it. But yeah, it's a really cool one. I just can't place this one. But really cool. Obviously, it's cool to see some of these variants start to get that love, because there were a lot of really good variants leading up to where we are now with this whole Absolute Batmania that we're getting right now. But yeah, this one's really cool. I somehow have just not this one slipped under my radar.
To be honest with you, this is actually the ratio I saw the most was the Bertram ratio because I mean it's the 1 in 25, guys. Don't get me wrong. There's a 1 in 50, which is a beautiful cover, but the 1 in 100 was the Jim Lee,
Mhm,
which we'll talk about eventually. But that one was in a black and white, and like
mhm.
even those out the gate, man, a lot of people were actually trying to run and get that 1 in 100. um so maybe that was the thing for Travis. I don't know, maybe you just overlooked it, but
I did. You know, because I remember the 1 in 50, I remember the 1 in 100, and I remember all of the regular
Mhm.
ABCD variants, whatever that were coming out. If you guys remember when this book dropped, every store had an exclusive variant of it. There was like a million
yeah,
variants of this book,
Yeah,
and it does not surprise me that this one just kind of got lost in the whole mixture of it all for me.
yeah.
yeah. And when you, I'm sorry. Go
No, go
ahead.
ahead. No.
So usually when you look at a 1 in 50, 1 in 100s, 1 in 25s, it's like, okay, they're rare, right? And they are in comparison to cover A's and all the other ones. But a 1 in 25 is not as rare when you have 300,000 copies sold.
Yeah,
You get what
Yeah,
I'm saying? So
yeah.
it ends up becoming almost like the other books. The price tag is still high because it's still a 1 in 25 of a book people want to hunt down. But there's something about that Dragoda cover that just stands out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
To the point that when you see it, you like automatically know this is a great cover.
yeah,
Not to say that Bertram's cover is not great. It's a fantastic cover, but it does feel like that variant type cover that people sometimes take for granted. I think in this particular instance, now that people are hunting down Absolute Batman #1 specifically, this one is starting to get now that same momentum as the other one did. And
yeah.
we're gonna talk about the Jim Lee ones as well, because that one's a big one.
Yeah, something that is gonna end up happening here on the channel by end of year is we are gonna do a year-end recap. But when you look at the Absolute Batman 1 issue itself from its release till now, there's been so many covers that have come out for conventions, exclusives, this and that. We could, dude, you guys remember the Frank Miller? That one for New York Comic Con. New York Comic
I
Con had so
I
many. There was
remember
the
it.
Yeah, there was the Akira one. There was a Philip Tan one. There was so many of these that had come out, and throughout the year, or even since its release and since the conventions, we saw some of those books trickle in on the top 10, right? But one thing that I find very impressive, guys, maybe you think I'm crazy, but if we look back at the last month or so, where we're talking very often about Absolute Batman, because that is what everybody's buying. That's literally why we continue to have to talk about it. But when you look at this in the last month or so plus, we're seeing the actual cover A's, the cover B's. We're looking at the actual issues selling, issues that even are non-key, man. And these are all making the top 10. And that is something that I tend to find very impressive. I find this, it speaks volumes when it comes to the title itself and how people are just trying to scoop this up. Really, this isn't people that are active within the hobby. I really think that's the case. I think a lot of people are coming in late on this one, and you're seeing a lot of these cover A's, these first prints going for the prices they're going for. Don't get me wrong. We've seen like recently the Felix. What
Felix
was
art.
it? The Felix art to the sketch, whatever.
Mhm.
Impressive numbers, but in volume, we're seeing a lot of movement on these first prints, cover A's, and stuff like that. So I find that to be very impressive, man. Even with all the options of amazing covers, this is still what people are flocking to.
Yeah. And as I was showing to some people, I do happen to have that Absolute Batman Akira cover, which
It's
is it's
awesome.
fire. Look at that
Yeah,
baby. Look at
yeah,
now. I do believe we will see this one come in the list again because what I mentioned it before when we were talking about Joker. I think part of the reason why Absolute Batman is hitting the right stride is because it has a bit of a manga flair to it. I think Dragoda's artwork blends well to the manga style,
sure.
and I think that's why people are gravitating towards it. Especially when it comes, I'm talking about kids. We're talking about teenagers that were coming into the shop asking for Absolute Batman, which
Yeah.
I love hearing. But most of those teenagers, they love going to Newberry Comics and getting those little manga editions to they could read books like Berserk and
Yeah.
One Piece or things like that. And I think Absolute Batman is kind of taking a little bit of that thunder away from manga, and I'm happy for it. I love manga comics. I think manga comics are great. So I'm not hating against that. What I'm saying is if you put the marriage between the two of them, then you have something big. Yeah, and I know about the Akira foil cover as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why Absolute Batman is getting that same moment because, like I said, the whole Joker thing is taken straight out of a manga.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah,
It,
for
it,
sure.
it totally is. But again, it's great to see. And at number 10, we've got Absolute Batman. Number 1, the Ian Bertram variant, which is a 1 in 25 ratio. Top sale for this in a CGC 9.8, $140, 7-day trend of 39%. Now let's shy away from the Absolute Batman stuff because we also got some crazy, crazy good trailers just recently which may have caused some movement on the aftermarket. So, Travis, what do we got at number 9?
Taking a little detour here, like you said. We're going number 9. We got Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, number 1. This is the Bilquis Evely regular cover A. This is the Tom King series, the mini series during DC's Infinite Frontier kind of era, I guess we could call it. Big pop on this one. We knew this one was going to happen. 22 copies tracked, $270 for it was the highest graded sale for a 9.8. High raw sale was $75 for a near mint, which is a pretty penny compared to where they were just a couple of weeks ago. This is what the new trailer that dropped this week. If you guys haven't seen it, the new trailer for the new Supergirl movie did drop, and this is, per James Gunn, the basis of the source material for a lot of the movie. The movie was actually originally titled Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Then they ultimately dropped the Woman of Tomorrow and just called it Supergirl. But he did say that this is going to be a heavy influence in the series. We're going to get some pretty cool things happening. If you haven't read this, it is by far one of the best Supergirl series you can read. Tom King absolutely crushes it. This is absolute required reading. Just a beautifully told story. And yeah, this one is no surprise. That trailer is popping off. It's causing this book to pop off, and a few more that we'll get to, I'm sure. But yeah, nice big growth trend too, 51% this week.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the other blink and you miss it cameo, but as because there literally was that.
I missed it the first time.
I did it. I was like, but what we saw, I think, was a really good teaser for what we know about Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. So we know the story. For those of us in comics, we know the story of Woman of Tomorrow. This is a Supergirl who has lost everything. Now, I love the line at the end of the trailer when she says, Superman sees the best in everybody.
Yeah.
I see the truth.
Such a banger of a line.
That is like you just nailed it with that line. And I think that's the point of this movie. The point of this movie is to give us a Supergirl that the public doesn't really know, right? Yeah. Because for the most part, we got the Helen Slater Supergirl, we got the Supergirl from the Justice League animated series, and those versions of Supergirls, it's like nothing happened to her. And when you really think about the trauma Supergirl has to be going through, the fact that not only did she lose her parents, she lost all her family, she lost her very planet.
Yeah, everything.
She lost everything. What does that do to a person? Yeah. You know what I mean? The fact that you lose everything about who you are. And that's what makes this story very different from any previous Supergirl iterations we've seen, where the other iterations, they touched on it, but not in the same way that I think this movie is going to touch on. No. And I think that's the exciting part about it. We're going to deal with the trauma, why she is a rebellious kid. Because in reality, she's being rebellious because of what she's going through. This is how she's dealing with trauma. This is going to be a very trauma-heavy story. And it's gonna be done through the lens of a very popular character. And I think we nailed it with that first trailer. I enjoyed watching that trailer. I saw it multiple times, and I'll
Yeah.
probably see it again multiple times until the next one comes in.
Yeah.
And I think what I love is that we're going to the comics. This is what I want my movies to be. I want it to be adaptation of a comic story. They don't have to be exact replicas, but I want an adaptation rather than you tell me what the story that I need.
Yeah, dude, I think that the trailer delivered perfectly. Like it is a very well executed trailer from front to back. It gave me more than enough. And it's like if we don't get another trailer till the movie drops, I'm actually fine with that. You know what I mean? Like it really gave us everything. That little glimpse, of course, of Lobo, the story, that last line that she says within the trailer that you just referenced, it set the tone for who this character is. Superman sees the best, I see the truth. You understand? Like no BS. I've been through literally the worst of the worst, and like don't try to pass one by me. And I really enjoyed the trailer from front to back. You guys both nailed it on the head. I'm actually not even going to add much more to it because you really covered everything, and I'm really pumped for this movie. You got crypto. I understand people's comparisons here when they say that it kind of gave Guardians of the Galaxy feels, right? The vibes, similarities. I can get it. Music selections, right? Kind of felt like James Gunn had his hand on that, right? You know what I mean? The headphones looking very Star Lord as well, very similar in look, but whether that be the case or not, I think we're in for a hell of a ride. I think it's going to be an amazing movie. I think it's going to blow a lot of people away, and I can't wait, man. It's looking very promising. Guys, at number 9, we have Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, number 1. This one being the Everly cover. It's a regular top sale for this CGC, $9.8, $270, 7-day trend of 51%. And we will continue to talk about a certain person that we saw within this trailer. What do we got next?
At number 8, the main man's debut in Omega Men at number 3. I'm talking about Lobo here. High raw sale of a CGC 9.8 of $240. That was the top sale with a 7-day trend of 23%. We tracked 64 copies sold. Yes, the rumors are true. Jason Momoa is playing Lobo. And we got a blink and you miss it moment of him smoking a cigar, and it literally was like a half a second view, and it was all in silhouette. But what was so cool is that you immediately knew it was Lobo the minute you saw it. You're like, Lobo, and and really, as I was watching this trailer, that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for that Lobo moment, right?
Yeah.
And we finally got it in a very subtle, very quick silhouetted version, but it was just enough for us to say yes, because I've been waiting for a long time to see a live action Lobo since the Krypton show that
Yeah.
came out a while back. But yeah, man, that got me hyped. Just when you get goosebumps watching something, I got goosebumps at that moment because I'm such a Lobo fan. And I'm super happy to have seen Lobo in this movie, even if it was for a little moment.
Yep. Same, dude. Same.
But some people feel like they're meant to play certain characters. I think this is one of those moments, right? Like, does it not feel maybe that, Momoa was, he was fun as Aquaman. He's been fun in some other roles and stuff, but this one feels right. This feels like the fit. This feels like the right thing. I mean, what is the story? Is that he texted Gunn as soon as Gunn was announced at Warner Brothers. Like the minute he was announced at Warner Brothers, that Momoa hit him up either via call or text, and all it said was Lobo, and then that was it.
That was pretty much it. That's the story.
Yeah,
and then he finally goes into the office, and that's when we get the quick, woo, yeah, he's talking to the mailman and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's great. For me, it's exciting. I'm excited about this. This is a book that I do not have at this moment, and I will not. I am not going to fall victim to FOMO on this. I will not do it, boys.
This
but
is actually very affordable.
It is affordable. It's affordable. For a 9.8 at 240, I could see myself. I mean that's the top sell. I could probably get something lower than that, but I mean. It's not bad, but I'll probably let it die down a little bit.
Dude, I picked up immediately after the casting confirmation, man. And like It was in its hype. I picked up a 9.4 at like I think it was like $60
I
Canadian.
remember that.
Yeah,
I remember
it was
that.
dirt cheap. That's what I'm saying is I do think from now till the movie release, guys, just keep an eye out on the aftermarket and you're bound to come across a deal. Don't buy into the FOMO for sure. But yes, we get a glimpse of Lobo, and just with that little bit that we got, I feel like the casting is pretty much going to be perfect. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not. Oh my god, it's Jason Momoa, and I'm a huge Jason Momoa fan. No, that's not the case. Like I think we also got a trailer with him this week in Street Fighter where he's Blanca, and I don't know,
That
man.
was a blink and you miss it moment too.
Yeah,
It
but
was.
let's see how he does on that.
I saw
front.
him more in the poster than I saw him on the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. But let's see how he does on that front. Now, we talk Lobo, I don't know, man. I feel like if I have to compare what Jason Momoa has done from Aquaman to what we're gonna get with Lobo, I feel like Lobo very much suits his character. I know you guys probably think I'm crazy, but let's look at the movie Minecraft that came out, man. I watched that a million times with the kids, and he plays a character that's very like 80s like hot rod and all of that
Let's be
stuff.
honest. He's a doofus.
Yeah, he is. He's a complete doofus. But I was watching the movie and I'm like, I could totally see him as Lobo. You understand? Like, I feel like it is going to be a perfect casting, and just within that glimpse that you got there with the cigar, the visual, like what he looks like, and we don't even fully see him. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be pretty comic accurate. This is going to be awesome, and I'm excited to see him play Lobo way more than Aquaman. Like, I get it. Aquaman, a lot of girls went to watch the movie, particularly for that. Jason Momoa, yummy, right? Yeah, I get it. But man, I think Lobo, it's gonna be a solid casting. I'm excited, and I can't stress it enough. Another character though that nobody's talking about that we saw was actually Krem of Yellow Hill, and
Right before Momoa.
exactly. So I that's another thing, another character that I'm curious to see how they're going to be portrayed within this film. But let's not continue with the Lobo talk just with this book. Guys, at number 8, we have the Omega Man. Number 3, top sale for a CGC 9.8, $240, 7-day trend of 23%. Now we'll continue with the Lobo talk with number 7. Travis, what do we got?
Number 7, we've got Lobo number 1. This book was kind of popping off at the same time that Omega Man 3 was after the announcement, and is continuing to pop off now after the little glimpse in the trailer. We did see a high raw sale of $23 for a near mint and a high graded sale of $140 for a CGC 9.8 with 28 total copies tracked. That is a 7-day growth trend of 150%. We did see this is the first ongoing, title for Lobo, his first solo title. It's a very kind of iconic Lobo cover. And this is one you see a lot of whenever you hear people talk about Lobo. I always feel like this cover seems to pop up because it's a really cool one. So we did get that quick glimpse. This one is following suit with the rest of it. It's a pretty cheap key if you kind of look at it comparative to the prices of everything. 140 for a 9.8, not bad. And getting it raw for about $20. That's kind of an easy pull if you're into Lobo and if you're excited about this movie. So yeah, this is a pretty cool book. I'm surprised to see it a little bit higher than Omega Man this week. But again, they're right next to each other. It's not that surprising. Unrelated to Lobo, I do want to point out, I just meant to say this on the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow slide from a couple slides ago. People kept saying they wanted to read it. Guys, just wait a couple of weeks because the DC Compact version of that series is coming out on January 6th. That's $10. It's $10 for the whole thing. Just wait for it. It'll be out on January 6th. You can order it and you'll be good to go. You can read it. I'm just giving you guys the FYI on that. But back to Lobo, not surprised to see this one pop up. Like I said, this one always seems to pop up with Omega Man. It's always those two together. Omega Man, obviously the little bit bigger key because it's a first appearance. This one's got the great cover, first solo series. Kind of makes sense to see them right next to each other.
Yeah, and this is the series that pretty much define who Lobo is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the biker version of Lobo showed up in Justice League International to face Guy Gardner, but it was in this book, Simon Bisley Keith Giffen, Alan Grant, they created this version of Lobo. He's kind of like it's kind of like the Deadpool effect, right? Deadpool made his first appearance in New Mutants 98, but it wasn't until Deadpool #1 that we get the Deadpool we know and love. This is the book that created the Lobo that we know today. The main man was formed in this story. And what's interesting enough about this book, this is a very affordable key. Like the high sale of this book right now is at $23, but you can find this book for like $10 places, man.
Yep.
It is very affordable, and I think that's why it's higher on the list, because it's easier to obtain. So, you take a look at the numbers tracking and what's being sold. Omega Men always sells. Lobo #1 always sells. Since the announcement of Jason Momoa, I've been tracking these two books specifically. They're always within the range, within the top 20.
Yeah.
Always. They're
Yep.
always selling. This book constantly sells. It is a book. It is kind of like Absolute Batman in a way, that it's always selling. It's just not in the ether like Absolute Batman is right now. But
No,
now that we have that trailer, it brought people back. Oh yeah, Lobos. Yeah, we gotta make sure we pick up our Lobos, because Lobo is he's gonna be one of those guys that once people see who he is, I guarantee Omega Men is going to become like Absolute Batman as far as price wise. It's already up there because it's an older book, but it has a lot of copies. I still don't understand how Omega Men 3 has a lot of copies, but that's something I still don't get to this day. But Lobo #1 was extremely popular when it came out. It came out right in the 90s, right when 1990 hit. It popped up, and as you can see by the price tag, it was only 99 cents. It was an easy pickup.
yeah. And Izzy's not wrong, man. Copies of this continuously move, man. And I've got LCSs here, man. They got claim sales, whether it be on Facebook posts or whatever it may be. Lobo #1. This one right here is always there, and it's always within like the $10 range for a raw copy, man. And I think why we see this move a lot is because of some of the things you both said here, right? This really defines who Lobo is as a character. We look back, and we'll look at the Omega Men 3 here. A lot of people were commenting in the chat, man, like it's too bad that the cover Lobo looks the way he does, type thing. And I understand that. I can understand that, because now we look at the movie and we're seeing something more similar to the 90s run, as you could see. But still, it's the first appearance, and I definitely would want to pick this up as well. So for me, I think why this tends to do very well and always sells is because of that, because of the story here that is tied to the character, to Lobo. The transition and the development of his character within this run is probably one of the main reasons why this is doing so well, and it's a very affordable price tag. Like I said, $10 Canadian, man, that's chump change, especially for my two brothers here south of the border, and I'm sure a majority of you here in the chat. That it's nothing, man. And I think from the cover to the story, it's totally worthy of a grab. Safe to say it's it's one of the Lobo books you want in your collection.
Yep, for sure.
I have 3.
That doesn't surprise me.
He's got 3. Maybe we'll run a giveaway, right? No, I'm just joking. I'm totally joking.
There's always a possibility I could give one away. So
no. I'm pulling your leg, guys. At number 7, we got Lobo #1 with a top sale for a CGC 98 at $140, 7-day trend of 150%. Let's keep the buzz going here when it comes to what's happening in movies, rumors, specs, etc. What do we got at number 6?
At number 6, we have Batman Mask of the Phantasm, the animated movie. This is the director edition with a barcode. Top sale of 9.8 was $135. We have a 7-day trend of 45%. We tracked 19 copies. Now, it's a sad day because the rumor had it that Scarlett Johansson was going to play a role in Batman 2. So the community automatically started speculating that it was going to be a character that we haven't seen in live action, because that's what they said.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is not to be the case anymore. So with that, the rumor was that she was going to play Andrea Beaumont, aka the Phantasm. Now it looks like she's not going to play that character. In fact, she's supposed to be playing I forgot her name, but she's supposed to be playing the wife or the spouse of Harvey Dent. So right now this book is in the top 10, number 6. You're going to see a drastic decline in this book. Unfortunately, But that's also good for those of you who actually want to have this book for having it. Um, and I think it's still worth picking up. But I do believe this is one of those titles now that it's gonna start declining as a result of the latest news. We could be wrong by those rumors, but now the rumor has is that she's playing Harvey Dent's wife, which I'm not happy about that. And here's why. Do we really need more Harvey Dent in a Batman movie?
Well, I mean, it almost feels like it's inevitable, and it's sad though because a lot of the rumors that I'm hearing are nothing tied to the Court of Owls and things that we were all assuming would be story wise taking place in the upcoming film. Because I mean, if you watch the first one, it almost felt like that's where we were headed, right? So I get where you're coming from. The Harvey Dent stuff, whatever. But
We
yeah,
don't need more Harvey Dent. I'm sorry.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
It feels like if I'm not gonna be that guy, but it did feel like we were heading in like a perfect Court of Owls direction.
Yeah.
Through both Batman and Penguin, it
Mhm.
felt like the court, like it just feels like that universe and the court in general just kind of set up perfectly for a movie baddie,
Yeah.
you know. But I don't know, man. This Batman sequel has been kind of shrouded in mystery. They're being very, 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 very careful with what gets out. But I did manage to find my copy of this week. I had it. I had
think
the book.
You might have overpaid now.
Oh no, I didn't. Fortunately, I had this book before the blow up. This is one that I had, but it was buried. But I was like, hey, maybe it'll be on the list again. So I grabbed it, and now I did buy. Hang on.
No, guys, I feel like Travis is forcefully flexing on us because he has to make up for the story he shared with us last week on how I'm that idiot.
Oh,
I'm
you
that
got
guy,
it too.
Yeah. Okay. So
Oh,
I did buy this one. So I got this one.
I have that one.
Yeah, I got this one, the big version of it, right? There's a full size version of it,
Yeah.
and then I got the Batman Adventures annual with the Joker and the Phantasm cover. I got all of those plus about five to eight other Batman Adventures books for about $25. So
Okay.
it was the steal of the week for me. But yeah, I was excited to get the little guy.
Yeah.
Way to go, man.
I have the little guy because I bought the DVD.
Yeah, I'm sure I had it at one point, but it's long gone now.
Yeah,
So I had to rebuy.
It's buried somewhere. Like I can't even. If you've seen this place, man, it's like, oh my goodness, how could you even find something?
I went on my love story diatribe about Mask of Phantasm last week. I'm not going to bore all of you to tears with how much I love this movie and how I feel like this might be the best Batman movie ever. But I will say, I would expect some cooling off on this. It's kind of a bummer because it felt like, oh, that would be a great way to go.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
we would love to see the Phantasm in live action. That would be such a cool
Hey, maybe it might happen. Who
might
are we to say it will or will not? 'Cause right
Andrea,
now-
maybe it's Andrea Beaumont Dent. Maybe she hyphenated. I don't know. We'll see. But
I'm with you, but like I said, now I can't unsee it. You know what I'm saying? I said that last
that's
week.
tough.
I
Yeah.
can't unsee it now. If I watch this movie and she's not playing the character, I'm just gonna feel disappointed the whole time.
we shall see, guys. We shall
You know what I
see.
mean? That's
But-
just how I feel.
Yeah, regardless, this week at least at number 6, we've got Batman Mask of the Phantasm, the animated movie. This one being the direct edition with barcode. The top sale for a CGC 98, 135, 7-day trend of 45%. Holy cow, we are at the 43-minute mark and we're only now hitting the halfway mark. So if you guys are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment below if you're catching the replay. Let us know what you guys think of tonight's list. Number 5, Travis. What do we got?
Well, we weren't going to be gone for too long. We have this absolute beauty of absolute Batman number 2. This is the Daniel Warren Johnson variant. Man, oh man, I love this one, and I do not have it, and it is really firing me up right now. This is a massive issue in the series. We talked about this one before. The cover A did pop up on the list a couple of times. A lot of first appearances, first Harvey, first Oz, first a couple other people. So people are grabbing this issue quite a bit. The cover A is obviously the most popular of this, but I think with the success of annual #1 and just the general success of our boy DWJ, who we just praise and praise and praise every week on this channel, we're seeing this book start to pop off. We had 20 copies tracked with a high raw sale of $30. Look, DWJ's he's in the spotlight right now. This is a 7-day growth trend of 284%. This one slipped through my fingertips. I'm still okay at this price. I'm still all right. I really like this cover a lot. This might be the purchase for me. Like if I buy one thing off the list this week, it might be this one.
We do have a last sale of $12 for this book.
Good, even better.
So this is I want to say it's a cover B or C, but it was a cardstock cover.
Yeah,
as well, and it's the first Daniel Warren Johnson on Batman piece. It may not be. It's a great cover, and Batman. You know, let's be honest, he's not the focal point here, even though he's kind of is. It's the party animals, and as you can see, they've partied a little too hard with Batman, and he put them all into their place. It's when you see it from afar, it's just kind of cool. And as you draw yourself closer to it, it's kind of like one of those images that you can see in a doctor's office, in my view. I'm just saying, but the reality of it is that it is Daniel Warren Johnson. It is issue 2. This is the first appearance of most of the Batman Rogues Gallery when they're making their first appearance. So there is some significance behind that as well. It is an issue 2, which, you know, history proves that issue 2s are always lower print runs than issue 1, regardless of how big the print run really is, right? So, you know, that's just the way it is. So there's going to be less copies of issue 2 that there will always be of issue 1. With that said, we got DWJ. It's his first Absolute Batman, and I promise you, DWJ will be writing Absolute Batman in the future.
Yeah.
I know Scott Snyder says he got 40 issues, but I guarantee you we are going to get more DWJ in Absolute Batman, because it's got to. He hit a chord, and DC's like, cha-ching.
Dude, that's exactly it, man. And if there's anybody that definitely is worthy of taking over, man, and I would feel confident with, it's got to be DWJ, man. Like just having him on the annual, dude, was like, what a rush. You know what I mean? So I loved it. And just a callback to what I was saying earlier, when it comes to Absolute Batman, like I said, you notice this is issue number 2. Remember that cover A, man, where you had Alfred Batman. We're not talking about that on the top 10 this week. Spoiler alert. We're talking about the Daniel Warren Johnson cover. And there's a lot of other covers as well that came out as first printings. One of my favorites is actually the Panosian, which is an homage to Batman the Dark Knight. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Yeah.
It was Dark Knight Returns issue 2.
Believe I got the foil of that one.
Dude. But again, that's a personal favorite. There's the Jay Lee as well, which is just, dude, I love Jay Lee's work. But it's so cool to see that now some of these other covers are starting to get attention, and they're moving in big volumes, as you can see, because this one right here, 284%. Wow, dude. It's a very impressive sale, of course, and clearly a lot of movement, guys. At number 5, Absolute Batman number 2. This one being the Daniel Warren Johnson variant. Top sale for around your mint, $30, 7-day trend, 284%. But we roll right on with some more Absolute Batman stuff. Number 4 is, what do we got?
And number 4 is Absolute Batman number 13, the Nitra got a regular cover. This has a high sale of a raw copy for $46, but also a high grade sale of $77 at a 9.8. We've tracked 99 copies with a 7-day trend of 134%. This features the first full appearance of Catwoman in costume, front and center, as well as our first cameo of the new Absolute Harley Quinn. This book is very hot, but it's also very affordable. You can still track copies in some places for as simple as cover price. However, most common sales are about $15 to $20 for this book. It is a great cover. Again, there's this really cool stealth version of it, which is slightly a little different than this one that I like, and there's also a foily one for those of you that love foily covers of this book.
Yeah.
Um, we're still on this discussion piece of Absolute Batman. We're going to be talking about Absolute Batman for a while, only because everybody that wants to read Absolute Batman are tracking down all these books. These are all key books that are tracking down, as you can see right there with the little key that's there. This is just another one of them, I think, and this is one of the more affordable ones to pick up, to be honest with you. If you're going to pick up a book, issue 13 is an easy one to pick up. You could probably still find them on your LCSs. They might have multiple copies. If they sell them to you at above a certain price, you might want to reconsider.
Yeah, just find a shop you trust. I'm sure they are all still sitting around. There were a lot of these out there, and they were out there for many weeks, and they were out there with the knowledge. I mean, the cameo was spoiled. I'm about 90% sure the cameo at the end of the book was spoiled before the issue ever dropped. And you know, even with all of that, this book was not horribly difficult to get at the time. So I'm sure that there are still some out there floating around. It's not a very old book. Flip side though, it's a very good book. This was a really good issue, and it's a wonderful cover. You know, I when I think about great Catwoman covers, it's impossible not to think about like Adam Hughes, right? But this is one of my favorite Catwoman covers. This is a super cool cover, and I'm a really big fan of it. And I mean, there's nothing else I can say about it. It's great. So cool book, big book.
There is a sidetrack. You mentioned Adam Hughes' Catwoman. This week, Adam Hughes' Black Cat comes out.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I know it does. It does come out. Yeah, dude. I think, you know, when it comes to the cover, I like how the cover is very much a throwback to the issue number 1, of course, right? The Dragora cover, and it's just more Catwoman-esque, I guess we could say. But again, more covers available for this one that I really enjoy. One of them is actually the Art Germ. I think the Art Germ one is really good. I like the Frizen one.
Frizen was nice.
Yeah, Nakayama definitely added some extra curves to certain areas, which thank you, Nakayama, because yes, I enjoyed that. But another book that, again, when it comes to what we were saying before, retailer exclusives, man, there are so many for this one. We have like multiples and multiples, and none of those making the list. What we're seeing is the cover A's and all these other covers on the first print. I love seeing that, man. And you know, is it because people would just much rather have those than the exclusives? I have no idea what it is, but clearly we're seeing a lot of movement. And even though what you guys were just saying, that there are copies out there probably still floating around, the aftermarket is clearly moving, guys, because at number 4, Absolute Batman issue 13, the Dragora regular cover, top sale CGC 98.77. But look at this, the 7-day trend, 134%, man, still climbing up on the volume of movement that is happening on the aftermarket. And if there's any, go ahead.
But before we move on, I have to mention the Ivan Talavera 616 cover. That to me is beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, man, speaking of a book that constantly moves on the aftermarket, guys, there's 112 of you live in the chat, man, so we appreciate you, but I think we all know which book we're talking about. What do we got, Travis, at number 3?
This book is inevitable. Absolute Batman number 1, the Nick Dragotta regular cover A. It's back again. It lives here. It's going nowhere. It is vengeance. It is the night. It is Absolute Batman. There's nothing more that can really be said that we haven't said about this book. So I'm going to read you some cool numbers here. We tracked a high raw sale of $180 for a near mint copy of this book. A high graded sale of a CGC 9.8 for $340. That's a dip, guys. Total copies tracked $138 with still a growth trend of 10%. That means we still are seeing this book continue to grow in sales this week. That's big. That's really big. People are really, really, really buying into the FOMO here. I know there's a lot of thoughts, there's a lot of opinions on this book and why it's continuing to garner so much attention. You know, I don't know I'm maybe not as clued in as some of those folks, but for me, I'm not overly surprised at the sale numbers. I am surprised at the actual price
Yeah.
of the book. I'm not surprised to see another 138 copies of this book fly through, fly out on the aftermarket. That doesn't surprise me at all. I'm not surprised to continue to see it selling. What I am surprised is seeing a raw book, a raw copy of this book going for $180. I'm still surprised to see a graded copy of this going for $340. It's a hot book. It's an extremely hot book, and we have talked this thing and talked this thing and talked this thing to death. All I can say is that I can't remember a book with quite this much steam in recent memory, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Now, I know someone in the chat asked the questions. There's 9.9s or 10s. We do know of a sale of a 9.9. I can look up to see if there is a 10 that is in existence. Yeah, I'm with Dave. I missed the Snyder signing. It got there a little too late, but don't worry. I see him Snyder all the time, so it's not. And I have this book signed by him anyway. We talked a little bit about the variants. Like, we could talk all day about this, right? But the variants that exist for this book, there's tons. But there are some that I think people should really take a second look at. Obviously, we mentioned the Akira homage. You mentioned the Frank Miller homage. There's a really cool one by Fabrizio de Tomasa. That's a Diamond UK variant that is absolute. I use the word absolutely gorgeous. In Huck Lee did a great one as well. And again, there's so many of these that are out there. Just pick it up if you want to pick it up. They're easy to track. They're not as expensive as this one has become, but they're all out there. There's also Mark Brooks one. There's a Mike Dito cover. There's plenty, and they just announced that they're pre-released the 10th printing of this book. So if you want to get a copy, get yourself a copy. There's plenty out there. Don't break the bank if you actually just want to read it. If you want to own it, I get that.
I don't think it's the case of people wanting to read it anymore. Dude, I'll give you a perfect example, man. I'm a cheap plug, I guess we could say, but between myself and Lefteros, which you guys are familiar with the FOC and the new comic book day picks of the week every week, we've created a Discord chat now, and we umbrellaed multiple channels where we speak, let's say, comic news, specs, everything happening MCU, you name it. And then we'll have my channel, and then we have a marketplace. We've got cards talk. We have all of it in the marketplace, dude. There's a guy who posted 4 copies of this in raw, right, at $125. Now these are all hardcore collectors in the Discord chat. It's a soft launch. We just recently launched, and it's hardcore collectors. These are not newbies. The 4 copies got eaten up within seconds. Gone.
Yeah, I was aggravated.
Gone. It was just crazy to see, and I'm like, okay, so this is across the board, dude. Like, whether you've been collecting for decades or whether you're new to the hobby, clearly people want this. And
but keep in mind, that's also resellability. Yeah. This will sell out. So if you grab a copy, even if you bought it at $100, you could probably still sell it for like a 120 at this moment. It's gonna sell. You know what I mean?
Easy.
It's just
it's so banger, absolute banger, and I did it too. Now I said absolutely.
It's impossible. It's impossible not to do it. I think they did it on purpose. If I talk to Snyder in the next 2 years, that's going to be the first question I ask him. Was this intentional? Did you do this so nobody could talk about the absolute universe without saying absolutely? Because it's just ridiculous. I can't help myself. I say it every time. Thanks, Scott.
Automatic. You can't. It's inevitable, guys. At number 3, we've got Absolute Batman number 1. This one being the Nick Dragotta, a regular cover top sale for a CGC 98, $340, 7-day trend of 10%. Number 2 is, what do we got?
Automatic Batman issue number 15. We're changing the title. We're tired of saying absolute, but this is an absolute banger. Damn it, I said it. We have a high raw sale of $21 for this book. This book came out this week, guys. This week, and we already have a high graded 9.8 at $65 with 7-day trend of 168 copies. Check this out. We tracked 171 copies in the aftermarket. Guys, this book is still in some shops. They bought 1 billion of them. But the reality of it is, this book has, I think, no other book this year has been hyped more than this book since Absolute Batman #1 came out. The minute we had the mention of Joker, all we wanted to do is see Joker. And we finally get the story of Joker as told by Alfred, telling the story of how he sees it. Is it real? Is it not? He believes it. But is it? So I think this is going to be the book of the year simply because Absolute Batman came out last year. This might end up being, even though we're at the very end of the year, this may very well be the book of the year. That's my personal opinion.
I don't disagree.
It definitely could be. Okay, so Izzy gave a perfect synopsis of the issue. I'm going to instead pivot to a fun little game I like to play when big books come out, and I'm going to explain to you guys why I'm probably a psychopath. So, what I do...
Sociopath.
So, what I do is I will order a hot book from, like, a regular place that I order books from. And then I'll be, like, perusing on the internet, and I'll put an order in somewhere else. And I'll be like, I'll pick up another one. And I'll pick up another one. So by the time the book actually comes out, I truly have no idea how many of these are going to show up on my door in the next week. Yeah. So it could be 3, it could be 15. I have no clue. So that's a fun little game I like to play with myself. That happened with Absolute Batman #2, where I ended up with about 8 copies, and I don't know how. I just kept accidentally buying them. So yeah, this one's cool. This is probably the most hyped book that we've had in a few months. You know, this one, whenever Dragotta and Snyder dropped this particular cover, it was all over the place. I mean, people were sending it to everybody. I know Lando sent it to me. I was sending it to everybody. Like, it was wild. And we were all like, oh wow, okay, we're going there. Not the first time Scott Snyder has gone kind of otherworldly with the Joker. Did it back in the 2011-2012 run. Joker was a little bit of a... It wasn't the same as this for sure, but not the first time he's gone a little out there with the Joker, but it's always worked. So this is an awesome book. And there are still some available. Not here, not right here, not where I live, but there are still some available everywhere.
So I was telling my wife about this Joker. Right, so my wife, she's a casual comic book reader. She, when I tell her you should be reading this, she'll start reading it. But she hasn't started reading it. And then when she first saw this image, she said, "Que eso el demonio?" Because she went pure Puerto Rican at that moment.
You get the holy water and start throwing
it. Dios reprenda, right? So she pulled one of those moments there, and I started explaining to her a little bit about this Joker, and as I'm constantly explaining it, she's telling me, "And you want me to read that?" I'm like, so how in death metal, we get the Batman who laughs and stuff like that, and you got the little demon Robins and stuff like that. I'm just thinking, that is Joker eating up his Robins?
Oh.
I'm just saying.
Oh.
Hey, Dick, how you doing there? What's up, Jason?
Who knows? Look, what I will say though is, man, seeing this cover the first time, kind of like what Travis was saying, man. The jaw cover, it sent people in a frenzy online, man. Twitter, absolutely. Well, Twitter, I can't even. Does that make me old calling it Twitter? X, dude, it exploded. Everybody was going nuts when they saw it, including myself, and we were all sending each other pictures. We're like, "Oh my god, look at this, look at that," and it was just something to really look at. And for the first time, it took me back, and I'm like, what a totally different take on Joker. This is like a whole new vision here, and obviously the absolute Batman run, the absolute universe as a whole, is exactly that. But this one was completely outside the box, and so
Mhm.
what first time seeing it kind of blew a lot of people away. Now, the story itself was just wickedness that takes place. The story behind the actual character of the Joker in the absolute universe is just wicked so far, man. And I'm fully on board. I can understand why people are really flocking to this and saying, "Man, this is wild, dude." Like I'm excited to pick this up. This cover itself, I put it up there. With
Yeah.
so many great covers came out for this issue. Like I said, you had the Jock, you have this one, you have so much more. It was hard to pick a clear winner, but the safest bet it always has to be the cover A.
Mhm.
And yeah, man, Travis, I don't blame you if you're continuing to order more. Hell yeah. I do the same thing, dude. I do the
I
same.
I I got to be at like 6 or 7. A couple of them are signed.
Yep.
Like I don't even know. I think there's one that's graded. It's
Mhm.
gonna be a wild couple of weeks, boys.
Yeah, you got to tell your MySpace friends, all those people.
Yep, absolutely, man. But dude, number 2, guys, Absolute Batman issue 15, the Nick Dragotta regular cover, top sale for a CGC 98, $65, 7-day trend of 168%. Let's see what comes in at number 1, but then stick around, guys, because I actually want to show you guys something pretty damn cool. Travis, what do we got for number 1 this week?
Number 1 is a book that I'm so happy to finally see hitting this list. The Absolute Batman #1 Jim Lee variant. This book, we talked about the variants popping off. This is an amazing, amazing cover. Jim Lee actually did 3 covers for the Trinity. He did one for Absolute Batman, one for Absolute Superman, and one for Absolute Wonder Woman. They all kind of look like this. I like to call this the spoiler variant. Because this did spoil a kind of a key point from the first Absolute Batman issue. But we did see a high raw sale of $99 for a near mint copy. That's pretty awesome. But we also saw a high graded sale of $100 for a CGC 9.8. So, pick your poison there. 14 total copies tracked and 236% 7-day growth trend. That's wild. Yeah, so just really cool. Look, Jim Lee is a legend. Jim Lee has been one of if not the driving creative force at DC for quite a while. You know, it's never a surprise to see him pump out some really killer variants. We don't see him work on a lot of like mainline series much anymore. He did work on Batman recently, I know, but we just don't see him as often as we used to. But we do get some good variants every now and then. This one was one of my favorites. This is the spoiler variant. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It's the chess piece. But
Yep.
I nabbed up all 3 of the Jim Lee variants. I grabbed several of them. These were ones that I had to have. They were all kind of matching in certain ways. They all kind of had this kind of side-facing Jim Lee kind of vibe to them. It's very, very, very cool, and I'm so glad to finally see this one show up on the list. It is very deserving. It's an
And
awesome cover.
and of course the trademark lightning in the background. But Travis, although it was a spoiler when we talk about the chess piece, as you can see right there, tell me it's not one of the most badass things that happens in this book. Like one of the key features to the Absolute Batman. I when I
it,
first read it,
it
dude.
it absolutely is. And there it is. God almighty, guys. Absolutely. Damn it, DC. No, when they released the logo for Absolute Batman, everybody like chuckled or at least turned their head a little bit because they were like, "What? Okay, that's interesting. That's a different take on the Bat logo."
A very inflated bat.
The fat bat or the chunk bat or whatever you want to call it. We were all like, "Okay, that's pretty weird." And then everybody read this issue, and if you didn't see this variant before you read the issue, I guarantee you had the same reaction that I did, and you were like, "Oh hell, that's awesome!" So
Yeah.
you did like it was fantastic. It was such a cool moment in the first issue, and it was great. So
It's
great cover.
Yeah, it is funny that we talk about the chess piece, right? So when you look at previous versions of Batman, you for some reason you always think that he could do something with the chess piece, but he never really did. And the bat logo in the Absolute universe is very, it's similar, and this is why we got the lightning bolt look here. It's similar to the Dark Knight's logo, right? When
Sure.
he did it in Dark Knight, it's very, very similar in nature in
Chunky.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, chunky. Um, and stuff like that. But when you see that scene and Dragoda doing the scene, he's very energetic in his style, his art style,
Yeah.
and it just makes it even more impactful. And a lot of people are sleeping right now on the black and white one, which is the 1 in 100, which currently is going for Raw for like $70. When that was the book that was hot. Now, however, the slab
Not for
version is
long.
still, yeah, not for long, but it is. We are talking about Jim Lee. We're talking about one of the greatest artists in comics history. He's considered to many be the best Batman artist out there. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
people may say Neil Adams as well, but Batman is in the top 5, maybe the top 3 of Batman artists. So to have Jim Lee do a Batman that's a different take on Batman, but still keep a little bit of that Batman taste and quality to it, I think that's what's great. The lightning bolt actually wasn't Jim Lee that did it. That was Sinclair that put the lightning bolt. Because if you look at the sketch cover, the lightning bolt's not there.
That's fair.
And
Yeah, that's true.
right, so the color scheme was Sinclair that did that. This was a 3-person team that did this work here. You got Jim Lee, Scott Williams. It says Steve Williams. Steve Williams is a different guy. Scott Williams and Alex Sinclair. And when you get those 3 guys together, you get magic. And I think that's what you got here. You have magic.
That little trio has treated comic book fans to some unbelievable Batman themed moments, and yeah, very fortunate to have so much great work from those 3 on this title. So all the love and props to those guys. I know they get it all the time, and they should. I don't think we can give it to them enough. They're all legends. Jim Lee, absolute icon.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a deserving number 1 this week. We've had so many of the same books over and over and over again. This is a different number 1, and dang it feels like it belongs here, right?
Absolutely, dude. You stole the words out of my mouth, because that's exactly.
Sorry.
And
Sorry.
shout out to my brother in the chat, Ronin Jedi, man, who's saying Jim Lee is Batman. To me personally, dude, I feel the same way, man, because Jim Lee Batman is just an era in my lifetime of collecting comics, reading Batman and everything. Like it resonated with me, and it's something that just I can't help think of Jim Lee when I think Batman. You know what I mean? And I mean, there's other people as well we can throw in there in the mix, but Jim Lee is definitely up there. And I love seeing this cover now coming in at number 1. You heard me say it at the top of the show, how there's also the 1 in 100, which Izzy was referencing just before. And yeah, man, I just love this. Dude, talking the chess piece, I feel like they can make so many amazing toys or just anything merchandise related to stuff like that. Like, dude, could you imagine having a chef apron with that thing, and then you go up to Thanksgiving dinner to cut the turkey, you just bang, you know what I mean, and then you cut the turkey.
Come on, Batman was not the first to do it. We got to give our love to Superman.
That's fair.
Superman 2,
That's
throwing that S, you know what I'm saying?
whatever.
He gets it first.
Batman over Superman all day, baby. I just started fights, did I? Right? I think I did. Anyways, number 1, absolute Batman number 1. This one being the Jim Lee variant with a top sale for a CGC 9.8 at $100, 7-day trend of 236%. Guys, that was the top 10. I told you I wanted to show you guys something pretty neat, man. I saw a lot of you guys talking in the chat. Who DC's on fire, DC Company of the Year. Is now a good time to buy Marvel books because DC is just skyrocketing and doing their thing. People are maybe not looking at Marvel. Well, I mean, those are fair questions to be asked, but let's just take a quick look. I wanted to show you guys something. Mark Spears, he specifically said that now with the blind bags coming out this week, his goal when he hopped on the top 10 with us was to take over the entire top 10 list. So let's see now with the release of the blind bag, maybe next week, the week after, he's going to have a hard fight ahead of him with all the absolute craze. But let's scroll down. Not only did DC dominate the top top 10, guys, it is a straight flush all the way to 20.
Wow.
And that is something I've never seen where one company just dominated. And it's amazing to see how DC
Wow.
is at this
I've
point
never
dominating,
seen that in my entire life in comics.
right?
Ever.
Yeah, I felt like I had to show that off, man, because I was here looking at the actual list on the website, and throughout many years, I think we've said countless times. I've been doing cover price now for X amount of time. Whether it was I was hosting the Shakers, myself, Gabe, Marty, Laura, oftentimes would say the same thing that DC books, especially a lot of the older books, man, the key books sometimes get overlooked, man. But it's crazy to see how right now in the days that we're living, the modern DC books are kicking some serious butt on the aftermarket. So yeah,
But this
man.
is where I feel like Marvel should take notice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, and I'm a diehard Marvel fan. I think like most people my age, we grew up Marvel was the top dog, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel like they've been dropping the ball for such a long time. I know someone says mentioned CB Sabelski, but I think it's corporate more than anything that's causing the problem. Um, which is my biggest worry about the whole, merger with Netflix and things like that, with WB since they own DC Comics. But I feel like, this should be the spit in the face that Marvel needs to give us some quality stuff for 2026. Because I love Marvel, and with Avengers Doomsday around the corner, they better step up. Because if this is what we're going to be looking at for 2026, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I feel I miss seeing a Spider-Man. I miss seeing, my X-Men, because that's my generation. You know what I mean?
No, for
And
sure.
and I think, they got some good stuff going on with like Infernal Hulk and things like that. But come on, let's get back to what make these comic books great again. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
hate to use that line now that I'm thinking about it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no,
Um,
for sure, dude. But I stand with Liger, man, because I personally think Marvel's dropping some of the best content comics wise, guys. We're being spoiled, man, and it goes beyond DC and Marvel, the big two, man. I say it oftentimes: the Energon universe, Ghost Machine. I can go on forever, man. But we're getting some of the best writing we've gotten in a long time across all publishers. So to see DC dominate the way it is right now, with all of the amazing content we're getting, the reads we're getting, the quality of products that we're getting. DC, chapeau, man, as we say. Hats off to you guys because that is very impressive, man. And I think it needed to be shouted out. And speaking shout out, I want to shout out the chat because at one point we hit 145 people live, man. So it means a lot to us that you guys take time away from your loved ones, whatever it is that you may be doing to come and kick it with us. And it is the holiday season. We're getting close to a period where we want to spend more time with our loved ones. So it kind of makes me feel like you guys love us. You know what I mean? So we appreciate you. We love you back. Before we go, let's go around the horn. Izzy, take it away.
All right, guys. As you know, I do my stuff in my channel too, Izzy versus NYC. You can go check it out. I do some fun stuff on Tuesdays with a nice friend called Cliff, and we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna be talking about, if you didn't know, breaking news not that long ago. PSA purchased Beckett, which means PSA now will be owning CBCS.
Yep.
That is huge news. We're definitely gonna be talking about that. We're gonna be talking our wish list for Christmas. So we both have a Christmas wish list. So we're gonna be talking a little bit about that, all that, and you can always come visit me at Pelham Comics. I'll be hanging out there a couple of times there. Shop just opened up, and thank you all for watching the video. Thank you all for being here with us. Travis, I love you, bro.
And I love you, Izzy. Oh, thank you, chat. Love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Had a lot of people in here tonight, so appreciate everybody coming and spending some time with us. Mostly me and Izzy. Just glad
We
we
love
got
you
somebody.
too, Lando.
Glad we got somebody back there to click a couple buttons and move some slides. Appreciate you being here, bud.
Oh yeah, that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
No errors this week. No errors.
And it's even more insulting. They trust me more than you on that. So let's move
that's
forward.
true. That's true. That's a shot. That's a shot. You know what? I'm gonna have some conversations. No, seriously. Thank you guys so much for everything you're doing here. Lando, thanks for pulling this all together every week. Guys, that's all I got. I got nothing else to say. This was absolutely good show.
Yeah, man. It was great times. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, tomorrow night we go live 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Gabe, and Infamous Jeb are going to be talking about the new books that are dropping this week. So we look forward to that. On my side of town, I have my channel, Black Crown Comics. Last night we did a huge giveaway show. It lasted 3 hours. 3 hours of giveaways all night long. And we're getting very close to the 1,000 subscriber mark. So I can guarantee you, once we hit 1,000, we'll do another show as such. So if you can, go check that out as well. But definitely don't forget, tomorrow night, we're going to be talking the new Comic Book Day stuff. This week, Matt and John are off. That's right. There is no comics covered because we actually have a Christmas party. That's right. Hopefully, Travis doesn't have too much to drink because he tends to get a little more honest. And we all know how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, we're gonna have some long emotional conversations.
Yeah, if Travis doesn't make it back next week, HR had to get involved. That's pretty much what happened. All right, so no comics covered, but Thursday, Marty, Laura, Gabe, and Chris will be back for the Shakers, 9 p.m. Eastern Time across the board on all shows. So make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, and make sure to come back. We look forward to kicking it with you guys. So with that being said, for tonight, have a great rest of the night. We look forward to catching you tomorrow. Adios.
Bye.